And now we're going to bring in a second part to this exercise. So the second thing we're going to use is based on the principle that comes from Qigong, or in fact all martial arts. It's based on the principle that wherever our attention goes, the energy flows. So most of the time our eyes are open and we're gazing out and we're sending our attention out of our bodies. But now we're going to send our attention into our bodies, and we're going to do it in such a way that we're using it to further open up the energy field and to relax our bodies. Now, arguably the most important organ in our bodies is our heart. I think, in fact, if our heart stops beating, we're dead in seconds, if not minutes. So the heart has an electromagnetic field, which has been measured by scientific equipment. And if you haven't seen an image of it, I definitely advise to have a Google search and have a look at the image of the electromagnetic field of the heart. But for now, we're just going to work with it, and we're just going to work with whatever we feel coming up. So what we're going to do is we're going to shut our eyes, continuing to breathe. And if it helps you to bring your attention to your heart, place your hand over your heart. Now we can notice that the eyes are shut. But despite the eyes being shut and the eyelids being shut, we still can see. So the eyeballs still can see, they're just being covered. So let's direct now our gaze inside. Let's look inside into the head, down through the mouth, down the throat, into the chest, and in our chest, let's find our heart. So we're going to look inside, find our heart, and we're going to make a connection with our heart, a little bit like when we see someone, a great friend, someone we love, and we see them and we look into their eyes and we smile, and we're going to smile to our hearts. So we're sending the energy of love to our hearts, and we're smiling. We're sending energy there. So being stressed and having anxiety has a lot to do with the heart, and the heart being tense. So what we're doing is the same as when a good friend or someone we love looks at us and smiles to us, or we do the same to someone else. We're going to do this to our own hearts. And as we smile to our hearts, we're going to get the feeling of love and acceptance, that we're sending love to our hearts and acceptance to our hearts, and we're saying whatever we think is wrong with us, whatever we're embarrassed about, ashamed about, I love you and I accept you just as you are. And we can imagine this energy actually like a red light inside of our hearts. And hopefully you can still feel that your breath is moving naturally. Your belly is coming up and down, nice and slowly. And observe what feeling that you get in your heart. So some people will look into their heart and they will feel it's very easy to awaken that energy and to awaken the electromagnetic field of their hearts. a lot of people say it's a beautiful, amazing feeling, but then some people I've taught this to, they've actually started crying and been quite upset because they realized they also had a lot of hurt in their hearts. And if we feel pain, feel feelings of sadness, maybe we've been cruel towards ourselves, we have these kind of emotions in our hearts. This is okay as well. These emotions can make our heart tense, can affect the muscles of the heart. But it's okay because we have this magic cure, and the magic cure of smiling to our hearts and growing the energy of love, which essentially is the energy of self-love that we're growing. So try to relax into a space where you're really feeling your heart is full of self-love, that this energy is spreading through your body and all around you. As I started doing this practice, I actually like to think of things that maybe people have taken the mickey out of me for, made fun of me for, things I've been embarrassed for, maybe aspects of myself that I was not feeling okay with, and getting those parts of myself and saying, this is me and I'm actually incredible, just like everybody is incredible. And it's a little quirky, weird things that make us unique, that are really cool, that make us who we are. Not just trying to fit into a mold and be like everybody else. And the more that I grew this energy in my heart, the more I found that I was able to be okay about things that came along towards me that weren't very nice. Maybe people putting their frustration or even intentionally being unkind to me. It suddenly didn't matter anymore because I had this like amazing feeling about myself, which is basically just being in love with myself. So as this love energy in our heart starts to grow, we can feel it like a red light. And we can feel that it's starting to spread out through all the cells in our bodies. And we can feel it spreading out also into our auras. Now, love is a really powerful kind of energy because it's the energy of the fire element, and that means it's able to burn up feelings of hatred, cruelty. It can burn up anything nasty that comes into our aura if we have a strong enough energy field of love. So let's set the intention to continue growing and cultivating this energy of love inside of our hearts. And leave the heart energy field to continue growing and opening. And let's put our hands back onto our bellies. Smiling to our bellies now. We're going to feel the belly is rising up and down. And now if we move our attention down between our legs, just in front of the anus is a spot called the perineum. And down here by the perineum is a set of 16 muscles and tendons. And these are basically the muscles and tendons at the bottom of our body that hold our organs into place. So they're a really, really essential set of muscles. So let's bring our attention to the pelvic floor. And let's notice that as we breathe in, the pelvic floor expands, and as we exhale, the pelvic floor comes up. So what we can notice now is that as we're in this relax and enjoy breathing, we're actually very gently and very carefully exercising our pelvic floor. And the pelvic floor can give us problems both if it becomes too loose and if it becomes too tight. So we want it to be a little bit like a rubber band. So continuing to breathe, focusing into the pelvic floor, into the perineum, so between the sexual organs and the anus. Let's smile to the pelvic floor and let's connect with the muscles there. And very, very gently, just like a butterfly kissing, let's start to actively move the muscles in the pelvic floor. So it's a little bit like as if you were squeezing your anus, for example, but we're going to just move forward a little bit and we're going to squeeze just in front of the anus. And just very gentle, very slow, getting the feeling like we actually are able to activate and to move those muscles. And as we gently activate and move those muscles, see if you can notice anything happening. For example, if you notice a feeling of energy, so the perineum is at the bottom of an energy meridian which goes straight up through the body, up through the heart, and connects with the pineal gland inside the brain. So let's just experiment a little bit with those muscles. We can also try to just come a little bit forward of the pelvic floor with our attention and squeeze the muscles around the urethra and around the sexual organs. And move back to the anus and have a little gentle squeeze back. And then now let's just move our attention back to our bellies, and we can put a hand over the belly and just breathe into the belly. Breathing out. And as we exhale, let's just get the feeling that we're breathing any tension out of the body. And as we breathe in, we can get a feeling that we're breathing relaxed energy, which I always imagine as a sparkly kind of stardust energy, a bit like a galaxy, into the body. And let's just ground ourselves into our bellies. And then coming up again, smiling again to our hearts. Hopefully feeling that electromagnetic field opening, feeling how we're able to actually smile to our hearts, to relax that energy. Relax the muscles in our heart. So this works great for panic attacks, palpitations. Even if we've over-exercised a bit and our heart is thumping. And then coming back with our attention back to our eyes. I invite you to open your eyes again. And opening your eyes, come back into the room.